All right, let's settle down. This young lady, God, what can I say? Starting off January the 8th, she talked about she had 4 PBRs, 6 new IBLs, and 3 ETLs she had popped. And I mean, she was doing, I was like, wow. And her subject was, what choices are you making? It's so important to understand what choices are you making, because a lot of us don't make the right choices. And I'm so glad she talked about that on January the 8th. And we just appreciate her so much. We love her training, at least I do. Can we give a warm welcome now to the regional director, Miss Roxann Corralejo? Let's give it up.
So first and foremost, I want to always give it back to you guys and your leadership. I know last Monday I was trying my hardest, and I reached out to Mr. Thomas and Mr. Clemens and said, hey, you guys, I can't even stay awake. I don't know what's going on here. I need some help. And they were like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Everyone will understand. And I know that they were traveling, and I said, you know what? No, like we can't cancel it. Like everybody's depending on this call, and we have this already scheduled. So let's push through. And then, so just thank you for putting together such a phenomenal team and everybody that can help and support everybody else. And you guys truly are a family to me. But I did reach out to Mr. Trolley, and he came in through clutch, no questions asked. And that's one thing that I love, is that nobody asked any questions. They said, she's not feeling well, she's not feeling well, that's it. And they know that if I could, I would have been here last week. So just thanks for the support in the family. And I want to let you guys know that that duplicates, because that starts with the leadership. When we talked about that my first week, when we talked about sacrifices and choices and how what you do duplicates. Well, because the leadership always steps up, because the leadership's always there, no questions asked, to back anybody out, to plug in when they need to. Even on Zoom calls, I've seen technology just fall short, and someone else, without even being asked, jump up with slides or jump in to talk or whatever it is. We have each other's back. And that's been duplicating in my team as well. So my team is brand spanking new out here in Lubbock. A lot of people are new. So we did talk about the amazing success we had in January, which is phenomenal. And I want to say it's a good problem to have, but the situation of me getting sick did not put us in the best situation. But so that first week and a half, just with everything deregulating here in Lubbock, we had 30 IBOs. Imagine 30 brand new reps. It's exciting, right? We're stoked. And we have so much going on and so much excitement. But then with 30 brand new people, imagine you hire a whole bunch of nurses. You're at a hospital, hire a whole bunch of nurses. You got 30 new nurses to say, all right, let's go, let's get your training. And then all of a sudden, the trainer disappears. You can't get the trainer. What happens? These nurses are running around. Okay, I saw a training video. Let me try and draw someone's blood. Let me try and give a shot or give some medication. It's madness. And that's what's been happening, unfortunately, here in Lubbock. But because of the support that we have, that these new people have been stepping up to the plate. So when you see stuff like that happen, you see people rise to the occasion. So I have some new reps that not a single one of my presentations got canceled. I wasn't there to participate in one of them, but some of them moved to Zoom, which was great. I had help over Zoom through everybody nationally. So thank you all so much that stepped up and helped with those. And then the presentations that I had here in person, I had brand new people saying, all right, I guess I'm presenting, let's go. And so just thank you guys for your leadership, your examples, everything you do, because that duplicates. And then you get to see those people rise to the occasion and step into who I feel that they are meant to be. And maybe sometimes in their job or their professions, they're not given that opportunity. But this week I've had a lot of support and help. So thank you everybody for all that. The first week, I do want to say that we talked about choices and sacrifices. And that's one thing Mr. Thomas did bring up. And to get where anybody is in any level of success, no matter what path you've chosen to get anywhere, actually good or bad, you've had to make choices and sacrifices. And with that, we hope that with those choices and sacrifices that we see something at the end of the tunnel, something that we are envisioning here, but are we truly envisioning it? So we know where we want to go. And when Mr. Trolley stepped in last week, he talked about resetting and what that looks like. We know where we want to go, but how do we know how to get there? So when he talked about resetting, he asked is if you knew where your business is. And I want to bring that question back up to you guys. And I did come back when I was able to stay awake and watch his whole training. And that meant a lot to me because that's where I feel like I am right now is resetting after all that success, a whole week of down and not being able to do much. I feel like I have to reset. And in order to do that, you have to know not only where you're going, but what the path is to get there. So did you actually take his training to heart? Did you go back into your back office? Do you know how many active team members you have? Do you know where their business stands? Not only yours, not only just your points. Do you know what their goals are? And I learned this from Mr. Trolley, absolutely, is asking every single person on my team is what are your goals? What do you want to see out of this? What do you want ACN to bring to you? And sometimes it's just a couple $100s a month and that's all they really need. And I say absolutely, but how can I help them get there without knowing their plans? And I think it's funny because I've talked to some people that have been in ACN for a while, and a couple particularly about 11 months or so, and they're bragging that they don't even know how to navigate the back office, and they brag and not know exactly where their business is. And I'm like, okay, well, if you don't know where your business is, and I'm like, that's cool that you've had amazing success, that is awesome, but what about your team success? If you don't follow your back office, how do you know where your team stands? How do you know who's getting promoted? How do you know who's been customer qualified within 30 days or where their 30 days is? How do you know if they've hit their executive team leader bonus or how far away they are from regional coordinator? These are things we have to know about our team to help our team get there. So it's not only sacrifices in knowing where we are, but it's also knowing where the whole team is. So when Mr. Trolley talked about resetting, that really hit hard for me, even the amount of success that we had in just 2 weeks in January. Y'all, that's just 2 weeks. But then he talked about that fearful January 15th, which happens with everybody and every New Year's goal, that January 15th is when these goals go away and we start losing track of them. We start losing them because we're not where we thought we should be by the second week of January, the second and a half week in January. And that hit hard for me because that's a dreadful day, January 15th. And then I'm laid up in bed and I can't even answer my phone. And I'm like, man, my head is throbbing. I can't help. And I'm trying to create three-way texts like, hey, can you help this person with this Vivid account? Can you help this person with this TV account? Whatever it is, trying to navigate because everyone's reaching out to me, not being able to reach out. And when we talk about resetting, it's not just starting from scratch, but it's going back and trying to help everybody reset. All right, we're starting from scratch again today. And that's one of the benefits we have with ACN. No matter the success or failure that we had yesterday, that's yesterday. Today is a brand new spanking day. Today, anything can happen. Today, you can get 30 reps in your business today. And I know that because I've seen it from one day to the next. And so we have to treat this as a constant resetting action, but also it kind of it messes with my mind a little bit saying I want to be committed, but I want to be able to reset all the time. So how do you do that? How do you stay committed and how do you still have that concept of being reset? So today's topic, I really want to focus on being committed. What does commitment look like? What does that look like to you? Not only in your relationships, but with your children, with church, maybe your religion, with work, with ACN. What does being committed mean to you? And what does it take to be committed? Sometimes when we say we're committed to something, what makes us committed to that? And that's where we go back to that first week. And that's where that sacrifice comes into play. What did we have to sacrifice? And if that sacrifice is big enough, if that sacrifice really meant something in here, then that means we are more likely to stay committed. And when I stay committed, that doesn't mean we can't reset because no matter what, life happens. It goes up and down. We get sick. I caught the flu. It freaking happens. And I knew it was coming. I was wearing myself into the ground and I could have stopped and said, take it easy, get healthy, but this is what happens. And no matter what happens in life, relationships take a plunge. You get into a fight. Stuff happens. Life happens. Are you committed enough to overcome and say, all right, I'm starting from scratch. I'm changing my mental mindset. We're going back at this again, but we're staying committed to that original goal. That original goal Mr. Trolley had you go back and set. Did you set that goal? Did you write it down? Did you tell other people about it? Or did you just keep it to yourself so that just in case you don't hit it, you don't have to admit that to anybody? Tell people what that goal is. So I want to share a picture of something. Or actually, let me just give you a little bit of an example. When we're talking about commitment, and please use the chat. Um, I know this has happened to everybody when we're showing a presentation, and it happens a lot. And we have a whole bunch of objections. And one objection we have that might be a little difficult, which I think is super easy to navigate, but it's maybe just because you haven't navigated around it before, is that finance question. Hey, it costs $299 to start up. It's $324 as your first initial payment. Who here has heard, well, I don't have that $324 to start with? Absolutely. Everybody, right? Hands go up. Well, please use the chat. What have you done? What happens when someone says, oh, I can't afford this? Roxann, I don't have $324. I want to do this. What are options? What are some objection handling skills that you guys have? I don't see anything come up. Hopefully you guys just don't ignore those people, because sometimes those can be our best people out here. So what do we do on a credit card? Absolutely. But what if, you know what, Maria, that credit card, it gets denied. It happens. I've seen it happen a lot. You can borrow it. Absolutely. Yes. Sensational sharing. We can borrow it. That's one. Borrow from friends. There we go again. So, okay. So someone can't sign up and their credit card gets denied. They tried that. So then they borrow it from a friend. We can set a payment option. Okay. Payment option. How? Through who? Do we have this stuff set in place for when these objections do occur? Mr. Tejada says that all the time. As an entrepreneur, the definition of an entrepreneur is a problem solver. Are you a problem solver? So I had someone, and it happens a lot. She said, you know what, I just don't have the funds. And I said, you know what, it's okay. Let's figure out how we can get the funds. Let me help you. It's always we. Let us help you. Do not let someone say, hey, you figure it out. See if you can borrow money. What can we do? So now she's like, all right, let me see if I can borrow some funds. So she goes out, and this is a true story, you guys. So I'm going through something that happened. She goes out and borrows funds, and all of a sudden she's excited, and she calls me and says, hey, it's not going through. The funds are in there. Help me. I want to get in. Like, time's already passed. Like, how do I get in? And so what are your guys' thoughts if a card gets declined, but the funds are in there? Anybody know why that might happen? She's said she tried it 2 or 3 times and it's not going through. Why would that happen? My first question to her is, I asked, is this a prepaid card? If any of you guys haven't dealt with this before, prepaid cards aren't accepted. Exactly. Prepaid, checking, funds on holds. Okay. Those are options. So I asked her. I didn't freak her out. I just called me and said, is it a prepaid card? She said, yeah, it's my Cash App card. And I said, okay, we don't take Cash App card. And she said, okay, well, what do I do now? And I'm like, okay, well, it has to go through a bank card or a credit card. Can we transfer the funds? Fraud alert. That's one thing. Absolutely. How do we handle that? And so she goes, okay, well, I don't have a bank account. And I said, okay, well, do you know someone that does? And maybe you can Cash App the money. And all this being said, you guys, someone told me, like, why don't you just pay for her? I already see Catherine's like, no, Al Thomas, no. It is an option. Yes, it is. But we know without that skin in the game, without sacrifice, without that problem solving, who's to say that she would have done anything? So now she's like, okay, what do I do? I really want to do this. How do I do this? And she can't find anybody that she can borrow a card from. She just, I don't know what the situation, doesn't trust anybody to send them cash and then pay for it, whatever the situation is. She calls me back an hour later. She's like, okay, I went to the bank. I opened up a bank account. She opens up a bank account, and then she cash apps herself the money. But then what happens? There's not enough funds. Cash App charges a fee to send that directly, instantly. And I already see Sharon like, oh my God, here's another issue. Absolutely. This stuff happens, you guys. You have to, as a leader, be strong and be like, that's okay. We'll figure it out. All right. So how short are we? She's short like $10, whatever they took out, and she can't figure it out. And so all of a sudden she's running around and she's trying to collect change and she's trying to figure out what to do. You guys, I want to show a picture of someone on my team that made absolutely no excuses whatsoever. What kind of excuses are you giving yourself? Are you letting your team have? This is someone, and she gave me permission to share, and I just love the story. Miss Jamie Olson, she's phenomenal. So she's a leasing agent at an apartment complex. And now you guys are thinking like, oh my gosh, it's an apartment complex. I would have paid for her to sign up, right? So here we are, a bunch of change. She's digging everywhere, her car, everywhere she's looking on the floor, whatever she can do just to get enough change to get the exact $324 that she needs to sign up into ACN. So not only did she have to borrow the exact money, all of a sudden her card wasn't accepted because it's Cash App. This girl goes to the bank, she opens up a bank account and then gets a temporary card and it still doesn't go through because there's not enough funds because Cash App charged her a fee. And then she's looking for all the change she can to get that extra $10. And what she ends up doing is giving that $10 to her friend so her friend can give her $10 cash so that she can put it in so that she can still put her ACN registration on a card, not once asking like anything, just like, okay, what are our options? What can we do? And straight in a problem solving mode. This is someone I know that no matter what happens, no matter what objection she has, she made that sacrifice. I can guarantee you, it doesn't matter how many no's she gets, she's not going to give up because she's sacrificed so hard and doing whatever she could to get that 324 just for her registration. That's commitment, you guys. How committed are you? You're committed to jumping on this call every day. That's 30 minutes every single day, 30 minutes to an hour that you're losing out of your day that you could be doing anything. What are you doing with this information? Are you putting it to use? Did you go and you look at your back office and know where your business is? Like Mr. Trolley said, did we identify those sacrifices and those commitments that are why we're still here today? Some of you guys have been in ACN for a really long time, but haven't seen any movement. Why? Go back and analyze your business and figure out why. When I've been stagnant, I've been there, it happens, I get it. But the difference between myself and someone else is that I will not allow myself to be stagnant. I will not allow myself to let that continue. I won't allow myself to jump on a call and just listen and be inspired and then get off and do absolutely nothing because you truly aren't inspired. Inspiration comes from you, not these calls. You've heard all this information over and over and over and over again. The inspiration comes from within you. What's going to be in you today that's going to drive you to push forward? That's going to drive you no matter what happens. If you get sick, if you get the flu, if someone puts you in a bad mood, whatever it is, how committed are you to continue to just throw that off your shoulder and continue on to the next day to find leaders? We're going out there and recruiting and we're talking to people to sign up in ACN, but are you looking for leaders? Are you going out there saying, you know what, I'm going to find a leader today. I'm going to find someone that says, no matter what, I'm going to get that 324. I don't care what the rest of the world thinks about me pulling out $10 in change. I'm going to pay for that registration. Are you out there looking for people that say, you know what, I don't have anybody to present for me today. I'm going to do it myself. These are the things we have to be thinking about, not just a recruit, not just a customer, but who are we looking for? And to be able to attract who you're looking for, you have to be that person first. How do I find these people? Is because I'm that person first. I make those sacrifices. I don't let anything get in my way. I go out and I figure it out myself. And if I can't, I have family that can back me up. Like she said, hey, I need to borrow money. I said, hey, Mr. Trolley, I need to borrow your words. I need you to talk today. I can't do it. So we have people we know we can rely on. Identify those people, write them down. Write down your people and write down your leaders, your chicken list. We talk about it all the time. I know y'all have a chicken list. You still haven't talked to those people. And even if you're scared to, just make that introduction. Hey, I want to introduce you to a phenomenal gentleman. His name is Mr. Al Thomas. He is great. He's not only trained with the most influential and successful people, he's also trained and mentored millionaires himself. I definitely know you'll catch a connection with him. I just want to make that introduction and you see where it goes. Even though they're your contact, make that introduction to Mr. Thomas, make that introduction to Mr. Trolley. Whatever your chicken list is, even if you're scared to talk to them, don't talk to them. They're your friends. They don't know you as that person. Introduce them to someone that they can look up to. Introduce them to someone. How committed are you to maybe look like a fool? Maybe ask for that favor that we never wanted to ask for. Like, you know what? So I went to a networking event and I met some people and they're like, oh, you're that girl recruiting people for that energy thing. And I said, absolutely. Some people would have gotten embarrassed. I'm like, nope, that's me. Why? You want to sign up? And she's like, no. And I'm like, all right, no worries. Because I'm not offended by what other people think of me. You have to be that way too. How committed are you to ACN? How committed are you to your goals? Whatever it is, doesn't even have to be ACN, but figure out your commitment level. and be committed, not just in showing up, but in doing the work. Show up for your team, and be committed to show others how to show up as well. So you guys, that's it today. I know this cough attack's coming. So thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you, and I appreciate every single one of you.